Portal is the type of game where you finish it in like 2 hours and say, oh, that was fun. Let me go back and just replay the first level real quick. And then you play the entire thing again 4 more times. It's weird to think about, but it is technically a first-person shooter. One where your gun doesn't actually damage anything, but instead creates wormholes for you or any other matter to seamlessly move through. Because the portals actually conserve the momentum of whatever happens to travel through them, they open up so many more mechanics than you might expect. Like diving into a portal and launching out the other end, shooting one portal above the other so anything you drop into it zooms through forever. If you set up 2 portals that face each other, you can actually get a glimpse of what your first-person character actually looks like. She's kinda ugly. I think what really sells it for me is the huge tonal shift that happens halfway through, when the sarcastic robot lady who's been guiding you this whole time tries to kill you in a fire. So without any prompting, you have to figure out on your own that you can save yourself by portaling out of danger and fleeing the scene. Up until this point, the puzzles have been straightforward and clear, because canonically you're a puzzle tester in a sketchy laboratory. But once you're on the run from Amazon Alexa, it's a whole different situation. Earlier, every puzzle was laid out perfectly for you to solve in a pristine white testing room. Now you're sneaking through abandoned, rusty industrial areas where the next step is never obvious. You really get the sense that you're on the run from an evil AI, skulking around in places you don't belong. Holy smokes, guys, The Witness is not good. I can't say that this is the worst game of all time. Everyone on the internet says that about everything, but I will say that unlike something like Balan Wonderworld, I don't even have anything to laugh at here. It's just boring. I knew going into Balan that it was gonna be a train wreck, but I legitimately thought The Witness was gonna be somewhat adequate, and it's really disappointing how painfully dull it is. The gameplay of The Witness is simple, yet vague. You wander around a lonely island at the speed of a snail with a broken leg and solve impossible line drawing puzzles with just a single correct answer. It somehow manages to combine the worst aspects of both linear and open world games. It takes you forever to get anywhere, but you're still not allowed to get creative with how you approach puzzles. And it's not like the game seriously benefits from being open world. Every puzzle is solved by strolling up to a square grid and drawing a line from point A to B with the mouse cursor while passing through or avoiding certain markings on the screen. This could have just been a mobile game. A paperback book could have done this just as well. There are some puzzles that require you to move around your environment, shifting your gaze so the glare of the sun reveals the correct path on the drawing panel, looking at a similar object nearby for clues, and those are the best puzzles the game has to offer. But 450 of the 500 plus puzzles advertised in the Steam page could have been played just as easily, if not better, in a Sunday newspaper. There are a lot of people out there with serious brain damage that they mistake for a high IQ who praise this game for its philosophically rich story. Which is weird, because it literally doesn't have any. I don't know what these people are on about, but just because there are a handful of disconnected, deep-sounding video and audio logs scattered around a giant empty wasteland doesn't make a plot at all. Saying that The Witness has great storytelling is like saying Undertale has great platforming. It is objectively wrong because what you're talking about doesn't exist. The puzzles are creative, but they overstay their welcome. The island is mysterious and intriguing, but it takes forever to explore. And even if the secret ending did have a plot at all, which it doesn't, that's not where you're supposed to put the main story of your game. I don't know, if you like it, I see why though. I didn't play Psychonauts 1 until I finished Psychonauts 2. And I gotta say, 1 was kinda disappointing. The level design was comparatively uncreative, the world was more annoying to get around, the story had much worse pacing. All of which is actually great, because it means that the sequel blew the original out of the water. The first one is still a good game, mind you. It's just that after 16 full years and over 30 other games, Double Fine went from making a good game to an epic game. Now it's a very closely guarded secret of mine, but I actually like video games. One of my main flaws as a video game fan, though, is that I have absolutely nowhere near the level of patience required to finish anything to 100%, the true test of video game mastery. There are 2 exceptions, if I'm already at 98% when I finish the campaign, or if the name of the game starts with Super Mario, but aside from those rare situations, I'm throwing in the towel once I finish the main story every time. So when I tell you that in Psychonauts 2, I collected all 16 scavenger hunt items, bought all 33 items from the shop even though they don't do anything, and caught all 200 hidden Pokemon cards in just 2 days of playing, I'm kind of obligated to give it a good rating. Each level takes place inside the mind of a different character, where you fight off bad ideas, panic attacks, regrets, and eventually the final boss, thereby curing whatever mental illness your patient may have. Since you're literally running around in the dreams of crazy people, there's really no guarantee that anything will make sense. Quite the opposite, actually. Non-Euclidean geometry, a complete rejection of the laws of physics, and the most fantastical scene transitions I have ever witnessed makes you feel just as trippy as the minds you're interacting with. In the first few levels, I messed around in my teacher's memories of her time as a hospital employee, and accidentally made some brain adjustments that gave her a gambling addiction. Admittedly not the best way to start day one of an internship at Psychonauts HQ. Suddenly, the level went from being a quiet hospital to a bombastic casino, where all the medical supplies I'd witnessed earlier were now flashing with neon lights and shooting out casino chips. This is the moment when I knew this was going to be great. Everything in this game is a brain pun of some kind, from your psychic powers to the enemy types to the collectibles, and it knows how to be corny without being annoying or diluting the emotional moments and story beats. Witnessing firsthand how everyone views the world, themselves, and their fellow characters through their own subconscious is a fantastic storytelling device. And the metaphors and visual clues inside their minds are so clear that you could probably skip every bit of dialogue and still have a general understanding of who each character is as a person. And yes, because everyone likes to lose it over cool graphics, this game does look better than certain Pixar movies. Also, Frodo Baggins plays Jack Black, plays a big ball of light, so that's pretty dope. The main character of Stray is a cute kitty cat who does cat things with his robot friends, so for me, and most people, that's an automatic 3 out of 5 at least. More so than any other game I've ever experienced, Stray is something that you watch rather than play. It's 90% 3D cat simulator and only 10% cyberpunk puzzle platformer. If you're looking for a challenging, action-packed puzzle adventure with nuanced combat and an engaging story, you're looking in the wrong place. If you're looking for fun cat times, the video game, then you really can't go anywhere else. Now, I use the term platformer extremely loosely here, since it's completely impossible to miss any jumps or fall from ledges at all. Many people have criticized Uncharted for having long stretches of unfailable climbing sections, and as much as I adore that series, they admittedly have a point. But now imagine if you could just hold the X button and Nathan Drake would effortlessly glide from ledge to ledge instantly without breaking a sweat. That's what it's like to play Stray. The main appeal of this game is clearly the atmosphere. Graphics, animation, sound, art direction. Even on my third playthrough, I was blown away at how far they went to make it look and sound great. If you step through a splotch of paint, the cat leaves behind a little trail of paw prints. When he plays with the other cats or paws something off a shelf, it follows the lifelike movements of a real cat to a T. And in terms of graphical quality, I can't even compare this to Pixar movies, because it looks better than Marvel CGI. Running through a glowing neon city at midnight, slinking across rooftops and squeezing through gaps feels just as fun as it sounds. I just wish there was actually stuff to do here. Annapurna Interactive really put most of their eggs into the one basket that is their presentation, and while I definitely appreciate it, I'm not one to allow glorious ray tracing to overshadow lackluster gameplay. Pun entirely intended. Aside from finding items, climbing from ledge to ledge, and speaking with NPCs, there's not really anything else to this game, and it's kind of upsetting that this amazing landscape doesn't allow for something besides strolling around and soaking it in. The Steam Awards this year bafflingly gave Stray the category of Most Innovative Gameplay, which I'm pretty sure only applies if you literally haven't played any other game this year. Most Beautiful Game? Gotcha. Most Relaxing Game? Fair. Most innovative game? I'm sorry, but not by a long shot. I don't want to come down too harshly though, because it's clear that this is meant to be an ambient experience rather than an action-packed one. It's not a cheap gimmick, as I've heard some people say. There were definitely hundreds of hours put into making this cat lifelike and fun to explore with. I just wish more of those hours had been devoted to activities rather than appearances. Shadow of the Colossus is one of the games I'm most conflicted upon, because for every one really unique and creative thing that it does, it immediately does 5 others that make me want to punch a hole through my television screen. The gameplay itself is fantastic, riding across a barren wasteland, searching out giant stone monsters, climbing up their backs and slaying them, but it's the broken controls and horrifyingly bad AI that completely sour the experience. Out of all 16 unique boss fights that make up this game, I'd say that numbers 1 to 3 are alright, 6 to 15 are pretty epic, and number 5 turns your blood into pure adrenaline. But those darn number 4 to number 16, they almost make me question if the high is worth it. If for whatever reason you have a fear of an AI apocalypse, fighting those two will easily put those fears to ease, because there is absolutely no way that anything this unbelievably moronic could possibly revolt against humanity. I have seen houseplants with better peripheral vision than these bosses, which is kind of a problem when both require you to get their attention before you can successfully damage them. The only reason I'm talking about this game in 2022 instead of 2021 is because the 4th boss took me over 1 full year to finish. At least number 4 is preceded by a much better boss fight to cleanse your palate. Number 16 is just followed by the ending, and it's one of the most disappointing endings I've ever seen. The protagonist is going about this land, slaying all these giant monsters at the request of an ominous voice, which claims it can bring someone close to him back to life if he does as it asks. It's this mystery that kept me going to the end, pushing past whatever technical curveballs the game threw at me so I could discover the secret of this monster, and when I finally witnessed the finale, it made me regret getting invested in the story at all. As the guy who has pledged his love and life to Uncharted, I know good climbing when I see it, and Shadow of the Colossus has good climbing. Holding the right trigger lets you grapple onto ledges or other climbable surfaces until your stamina meter runs out, and the trick is knowing when to push your luck and climb a little higher or let go and risk getting thrown off by the disgruntled Colossus while you catch your breath. Of course, this is made a little more difficult by the clunky controls, which drastically change depending on whether you're standing, riding your horse, drawing your bow, or climbing, and sometimes don't seem to work at all. Since the only issues are technical problems and the core mechanics are more than innovative, I was considering ranking this game pretty highly, but then I remembered that I'm not just playing an original PS4 game. I'm playing a PS4 remake of a PS3 remake of a PS2 game. They had 17 years and 3 different consoles to get this right, and instead they re-released it as a broken, infuriating, unplayable mess. If it's ever remade for real, I'll sign up to buy the first copy, but for the state it's in right now, I'm just not sure if it's worth it.